Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today, I'm excited to show you a beautiful collection from our friends at Ciao called Winter Season. We have a creative pad, an 8x8 paper pad, and a sticker set, all with a gorgeous winter theme. So let's have a look, and we can start with the creative pad. So this is an A4 size pad measuring 8¼ inches by 11¾ inches. And inside you have 9 double-sided papers consisting of 17 design pages of ephemera elements, plus some designs on the front cover that we'll take a second look at as well. So as we're flipping through, you can see the ephemera elements, and you'll also notice on the reverse side that there's an all-over patterned paper that can be used as your background paper along with your cards. I think these images are absolutely stunning. I love that these are just simple and easy to cut out, making them great card focal elements or something perfect for the inside of your card too. And the artwork is absolutely stunning. I'm a big fan of Ciao. I think their artists do an incredible job. And I have to say, I think this collection might be one of my all-time favorites. I really like, for example, with this sheet, that you're getting some really beautiful and sophisticated images in here, as well as some that are just really sweet and heartwarming. And again, great for creating a variety of different themes of projects. So whether it's Christmas or a winter birthday, I think these would be perfect. Here's the back side of that. Now coming to the front of our package, so the cover of the package, you've got some elements on here that can also be used. I love this snowman here, and then you've also got some additional pieces on the side. If I flip this over, you can see a beautiful corner treatment with this sweet snowman. I think this would be beautiful on the front of a card. You also have a border piece here, as well as 3 additional tiles down at the bottom that you can use for the front or the inside of your card. So this is absolutely value packed with beautiful artwork and lots of different pieces to put together. Then we've also got an 8x8 paper pack. Now this contains 12 double-sided papers offering 23 different designs. So as we flip through here, you can see more of this gorgeous artwork. I love the birds and the poinsettias and these gorgeous winter themes. Again, you've got some cutout elements here as well, so these can go along. And then on the back side, I love that they've made it look like a vintage letter or an envelope. The all-over patterns are perfect in combination with one another. Of course, you can also incorporate some additional specialty papers. I think a metallic gold paper cardstock would look beautiful here. Perhaps some gold foiling. We'll have a play with lots of different techniques. And I think you can see just how easy these designs are to incorporate into your projects. Absolutely beautiful. So then here's the back of the pack. And then again, if I flip this over to the front, you can see on this front cover that you've also got additional elements that can be used on your projects. And of course, flipping this over again, you've got a nice large piece here. I think you could cover the front of your card with this portion and have a beautiful background. And then you've got some smaller elements down here, as well as perhaps a portion of a border to go along. So absolutely loaded, a fantastic value with these paper packs. And then we've also got a set of stickers. So inside here, we've got 5 sheets, 5 sticker sheets with over 30 gorgeous designs, of course, to coordinate with the creative pack and the paper pad. So these adhesive images are uncut, and all you need to do is use scissors to cut out a single image or perhaps a grouping of images, just depending on what you're looking for. And then the rest is translucent, so it looks beautiful whether you're putting these onto cardstock or patterned paper. And we'll have a look at some different ways we can put those stickers to use. Lots of different possibilities there. So as you can see, we have a lot of gorgeous papers and embellishments to play with today. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm so excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Our first card uses one of the large images as a focal, simply matted onto white and gold metallic cardstock, and then foam taped to the front of the card. So the focal snowman cutout, this portion right here, is from the creative pad, and because it measures about 5 3/4 inches by 4 inches, it nicely fills the front of my 5 by 6.5 inch card base. I don't have to do a whole lot more here. I did cover the card front with pattern paper, and then I added this border portion here along the side. And I should also add that for this card and for all the cards in this webisode, I'm combining both the creative pad elements and the paper pad for my background papers and focals. So I'm using everything for these cards. Now I first matted my snowman onto white cardstock, and that's to contrast with the browns and the greens and to also highlight the ivory and the white tones. And the white cardstock is coming from the Christmas Cardinals cardstock pack, which I'm also using throughout today's webisode. So this has 2 sheets each of 12 colors, and you can see one of those sheets is going to be the white. So that's what I'm using here. Now I'm also using metallic gold cardstock, and you may also notice a little bit of shading around the edges of that metallic gold, and that's because I sanded the edges with a sanding tool for a softly distressed look. So I'm going to bring in a little snippet of this gold metallic cardstock. I use this quite often, especially for matting and for die cutting. Your sheets will be larger than this. This is kind of one of my last little remaining snippets here, but I wanted to show you the sanding. So I'm going to bring in just a piece of plain black cardstock so that you can see, and my sanding tool. When you sand this, you'll remove some of that top layer of the gold metallic, and you'll reveal the white core underneath. And it kind of depends on how much you're sanding or how little you're sanding to get a distressed look. So you can see I've got quite a bit of that gold removed here, not so much along here. But again, if you put it up, especially against a contrasting darker cardstock color, you can really see how you're getting a beautifully distressed look. So that's one option that you have with that gold metallic cardstock. You can give it a bit of an antiqued effect. Now my matted snowman is placed here with foam tape. So this entire piece is foam taped onto the front of my card. And then I added a bow, tied in some jute twine from one of my favorite packs from Hot Off the Press, the jute twine collection. I really like how just a little touch can add a nice effect, kind of something similar with that gold metallic cardstock. You don't need to use a whole lot of it to really add a nice effect to your design. So I've just tied a bow in that jute twine and glued it down at the top of this ornament that's printed onto the cutout. And the sentiment here is also printed onto the front. Now for my card inside, I have a strip of this herringbone pattern paper and another strip of the sanded gold metallic. And to the side is a happy birthday die cut message. Now this comes from the circle stand-up die set. And we'll look at this for another card later in today's webisode, and we'll actually do the stand-up card design. But I really like the versatility of the happy birthday sentiment in here. You also get the word friend, and you've got some little balloon elements in here too. So a nice way to use your fabulous folded cards without necessarily doing the folding part. So take in mind that you can use some of those other elements in there too. So I've got those die cut from this herringbone pattern paper. And then down at the bottom here, I've got a snowman sticker, which coordinates with the snowman, of course, on the front of our card here. And I've just applied him right to the inside back of the card. Now with the stickers, so these are coming on the adhesive sheets, all you need to do is grab your scissors and trim around the outside edge. You don't need to get in every little detail area here, so not a lot of fussy cutting, but you do want to make sure to get around the outside edge. So again, let me show you up on against the black. When I've trimmed this out, this is as much as I've trimmed. And then when I place it down onto my white or lightly colored cardstock, I can just simply position this down and those edges will blend into the background. So these create really nice elements. Now you can also use a lightly patterned paper for this. So I've got a really soft plaid here, and I've got this beautiful floral element. This one's a little bit bigger. I'm just going to pull that off. And with a larger element, I kind of like to start with the center, position that down, and then smooth out the sides there. And then there you go. So you are able to use a lightly colored pattern paper or lightly colored paper for applying those stickers down. A really dark paper like this black cardstock is not going to show up, and you can see that's where my ice skate was. Wanted to show you it's just going to blend right into that background. So before you use your stickers in places that won't work, I thought I'd demo that for you so that you know. But onto white and lightly patterned or colored background paper is going to work beautifully. And I love how those colors just pop out there. So that's all I've done to add into the inside of the card to coordinate with the outside. So this is our first card design. I love adding in a little bit of that gold metallic to give a bit of shine. I have another technique so we can take a look at a different way to add some gold metallic shine and distressing to our winter images. As with our first card, I'm taking advantage of these gorgeous large images to use as card focals. So here I've trimmed out the scenic bird image and matted it several times. So it's first onto tan cardstock from the Christmas Cardinal set, and then onto pattern paper, and then glued to the front of my card, which is also covered with pattern paper. And I also have some gold foiling around the edges of this large piece here, which give a much more distressed effect than our gold cardstock from our previous card. And this is done with Wow Fab Foil. And applying this fab foil with a glue stick, it is one of my favorite ways to get a distressed look, and it's also really easy. I'm going to move aside this card for now and just talk a little bit about the fab foil. So this comes in a variety of colors. I really love the gold for a classic look. And you've got a lot in these little packages, which is so nice. It's a great value. So the sheet measures 4 inches across and 39 inches long. So this thing just keeps unraveling and unraveling, and you get so much mileage from it. Now you'll notice it's silver on one side and gold on the other side. When you're gluing this down, you're going to want to position the gold facing up. So that's going to be our first step. So what I'm going to do is grab, I'm going to grab this piece here that we applied our sticker onto, and we're going to do some foiling on to this cardstock piece. So all I need to do is grab my scissors and trim off a little bit of this Wow Fab Foil. You don't need a whole lot, and you can reuse this until the pieces are basically see-through. So you can see this piece here I've saved in my stash, this one here too. I've got some bald spots, but I still have quite a lot of gold on here, so I'm going to make the most out of these. So all I need to do then is grab my glue stick, and I'm going to apply this just along the edges here. So if I wanted it all along all 4 sides, I'd just apply the glue stick right directly on there. It could go along the edges if I wanted to. And then take that fab foil and position it down where that glue is. So let me grab another piece here, and it will stick to the glue. So I don't need to worry about doing anything else, just pressing it down on there nicely and firmly. Now I'm going to get a pretty distressed look because my foil strips are pretty distressed, as they are too. So I may be getting just portions of that gold, but that's going to be fine too. So now all I need to do is just let that glue dry, and then I can pull off the foil and we can take a look. I do have a piece that has already dried. And what I like to do too with these pieces, as they're drying, I'll grab one of my embossing plates and maybe pop that on top so that it can really sit there and be pressed in there nicely. But I've got a piece here that is already dry, ready to go. It really only takes a couple of minutes. And then I can pull this off. You can see, oh, there's still some more on here. I put that in my use later pile. Pull this off, and this one up here. And then let's grab this one too. And let's get this black piece of cardstock again so that we can see how beautiful that looks up against the black, or of course along the white of our background. So it is going to give you a distressed and vintage look. It may be a little bit unpredictable, which is one of the things that I really like about it. I think it just gives a gorgeous effect and quite quick and easy to do. So that's with our fab foil, and it works nicely with a very simple glue stick, which I love. So I've glued this down on here after doing the foiling, and then I've added a cutout popped up here with some foam tape. I've got the word cozy, which is a sticker, just kind of nested in there. Then for the card inside, I have some more of this gorgeous pattern paper. So the beautiful poinsettias, and then some more of this kind of wood foiling effect over here. I've got another foiled focal element cut out with a sticker sentiment added on top. Quick and easy to do, and a really nice way to add some gold metallic shine on there. Now I've got another card project that I want to show you, and this one also uses some more gold metallic. This is the gold metallic cardstock, and I've used this to create a scalloped die frame for our cutout image. And the scalloped die is from, guess what, one of my favorites, the 12 rectangle and scalloped cutting die set. So you've got a variety of nested shapes in there. And this 4-inch by 3¼ inch frame just happened to fit the cutout perfectly. So then the accents down at the corners here, well, these are coming from the Christmas Cardinals chipboard set. And this is a laser cut set of images. They are absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pull this out of the package. And you can see the designs are just gorgeous, and they'll pop right out of that backing piece. Now, you can use the pieces as they are because they're a really lovely off-white color, or you can color them with markers, which I will show you on our next card. But I love the natural color of the chipboard, so I just popped them out from the backing sheet and glued them onto the front of my card. Now, I do recommend in this case using a precision tip applicator and some white glue, especially for adding the words on here because you've got some quite thin lines on here as well. So that's my tip for making sure that that glues down securely and without glue going sort of everywhere. Then for my card inside, I have some of that soft, pretty plaid paper that we saw before, and I've simply added that floral sticker on top, and then I've got the Sending Smiles words from the Script Dazzles in brown, which is a perfect color match. Our final card is using that circle stand-up card die we looked at earlier, but this time I'm using it to create my card base. This is a new to me die, and I really love how it puts the spotlight on this beautiful bird image, and I love how easy it is to put together too. So this is the front of the card, and you can also decorate the back of the card here too, as I've done. And you can start to see here too some of the creative possibilities. I'm using this double-sided pattern paper for the inside, this focal area, but if you were to use acetate, it would give you a window effect. So even more creative possibilities with this design. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to put together. So I'm going to bring in the die that I'm working with. And on the front of the package, you'll see you've got the variety of components included in this set. So you have your card base, you have the inner circle, which is that thin line around here. You've got the donut, the thicker line. You've also got the stand. And then you've got your happy birthday friend and balloon accessory elements. And you can see how they've all been put together here on the project idea. Now on the back of the package, you'll also see another look at that same project idea, all of your written instructions as well as the assembly diagram. And where you see the red on here, this is indicating where we suggest you use an extra sticky tape, and that's just going to help keep your stand really securely in place. And then of course you can keep all of your dies inside this storage folder. So everything is nicely organized instructions, ideas, and dies all ready to go. So let's take a look at how to assemble this. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is die cut out your pieces. You'll die cut one each of the card base, the stand, and the inner circle, and then two each of the donut shapes. Let's begin with our card base and die cutting that portion. Now here is the card base, the die shape, and then over here I've got my folded card. And the fold of the card is up here at the top. When you do this, you're going to keep your card folded and position the die right on top. You're going to align these two tabs with the fold of your card. So position this down in place. Use your low tack tape to secure it. Keep your card folded and then run it through your die cutting machine. And you will have a piece that looks like this. When it opens, going to have that circle on the inside. So here you are ready to go. Then with your stand, you're going to die cut this from whatever color cardstock you want. There are score lines indicated on here because you're going to want to score this up so it looks like this from the aerial viewpoint. And here you're going to apply your extra sticky tape, a piece here on this tab and a piece here on this tab. Fold this up and open up your card, and you're going to align the bottom of your stand with the bottom of your card. So secure that down, remove that liner on here and glue this down in place. Then you'll remove this liner, holding everything together. Fold up your card again, and that will keep those two together so that you will have a piece that looks like this. If I open it up a little bit more, you can see that stand mechanism in there. And from here, you can decorate as you wish. So this is where your circle, your inner circle, and your donuts are going to come into play. So again, you'll die cut one of the circle and two of the donuts. So my circle here is just from white. I've got two black donuts, and all I'm going to do is create a sandwich. So I'll just glue this in place and glue this one right on top. So again, here's where you could see if you had some acetate in there, you'd have a really cool window effect. Anyway, you're going to take what you've got and position it onto the front of your card, and you're ready to go. That's the basics. So super simple to put together, and I think you can see where you can have a lot of different creative possibilities here. Now I've covered the front of my card with some pattern paper. I also added some snowflake stickers on there. I've got some more stickers here. I've got the mittens, which I've applied onto the same color of light tan cardstock. So I'm still able to get that beautiful image on there. And it's just creating a really nice and perfectly coordinated pair of mittens to tuck right here with some foam tape along the edge of my circle. And then I've got the word memories. This is popped up on foam tape. I have another cutout here underneath. Then I've also got some more of our Christmas Cardinals chipboard elements. And as I mentioned earlier, you can just pop these right out and use them the color that they are, which is a beautiful color. You can also color them in. And to color these in, I'm using the Tri-Blend markers. And these are from Spectrum Noir, and these are some of my favorite markers. Great quality, also really nice color combinations, and you've essentially got 3 shades in one marker, which helps to conserve on space if you have a small crafting room like I do. The two that I'm using are the dull green blend and the pale skin blend. I wanted these to be really soft and subtle and to blend in with the background here. So what I'm going to do is angle these around so that you can see on one end of each pen you're going to have the light color, then you'll have the mid, and then you will have the dark. And when you're coloring these, you can use any combination of those colors that you wish. So I'm going to start with the dull green, and I'm going to use that mid color here, which is just right in the center of the pen. And you can either remove the pieces before you color them or keep them into that backing sheet. It doesn't really matter. But here I'm just coming in with my marker and kind of scribbling in some color. I like having little bits of the sort of a bone color or natural color of the chipboard. I like having a little bit of that showing there. So that's what I've done to simply color this in quickly and easily, and then just pop that out from the backing piece and I can glue it onto the front of my card. And I like to use just some plain white glue and our precision applicator to glue these down. So I've got the pine bows in here. I've got the pine cones also colored in here as well. And then they're just glued right around the edge there. Then for the back of my card, I've also covered the back with this herringbone pattern paper. I've got a bit of a border going along the bottom. And then I have one of the cutouts that's got a really sweet little sentiment on there just to finish this off. And this is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to you for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed today's webisode. And a big thank you to our friends at Ciao for another gorgeous collection. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. And we're really glad that you're here. We're so happy you're a part of our Paper Wishes family. Each item you see here can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It does help people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.